who you work with matters. It's something you've heard me say over and over and over again, and it is even more important now in this current crazy real estate market. When buying or selling a house, who you work with is key, from the real estate agent like myself, to the mortgage agent, to your title company, to insurance agents, to your home inspectors, to people that you may need to do work around your home if you're selling your home. Everybody in that process is super important and can determine whether you make a deal, whether you get the deal, if the deal is in contract, whether you get that contract to closing, and also different terms throughout that contract that can cost you thousands of dollars for working with people who are either uneducated, lazy, don't care, don't work in our market, especially here in our local market, the Jersey Shore. We're a very niche market. We have things like condos, condo fees, flood insurance, riparian rights, all kinds of different water rights. You have tidelands. You have all kinds of things going on that aren't normal in regular residential markets that can really mess deals up if someone doesn't know what they're doing. And that really came to the forefront today in a situation that I had to spend half the morning tackling when a client of mine who was purchasing a home went and reached out to their insurance rep at AAA, which there's nothing wrong with that. But in this case, they reached out with to their insurance agent instead of going with someone that we had recommended. They reached out to their guy and for a flood insurance quote. When we looked at the house, we were told $700 a year. They called their agent. Their agent said, "Oh, FEMA's quoting you at $5,000." So AAA insurance, $5,000 for flood. So needless to say, my client obviously was freaked out. It went from, hey, a $60 a month flood insurance payment to now over $400 a month in a flood insurance payment, which can also mess up your debt to income, cause you to not get the loan. There's so many other things. But the part of the story that really matters is that what happens is the AAA agent didn't go into all the details as to why they were getting such a high quote. So they called and quoted them through FEMA without a flood elevation certificate. If you do not have a flood elevation certificate and you want to get a quote through FEMA, they're going to give you what they call their worst risk rate or their highest risk rate, which means they're covering themselves because they have to assume that your home sits on the ground and is way below the flood line and is a high risk for flooding. That way they cover themselves. So they give you the worst possible rate for your area. And then if you go turn around and you give them a flood elevation certificate that shows them that the property is above the flood elevation line, that number comes crashing down. But the problem is they don't give that disclaimer, and most companies don't. They just say, oh, the FEMA quote is $5,000, which in turn makes my client have a meltdown, call me freaking out. You have to talk them off the ledge and say, listen, we'll work this out. Let me call my insurance agent and let's see what's going on. So we reached out to Tim Barry. Shout out to Tim Barry over at Anchor Insurance in Rio Grande. Same property, same specs, ran a private flood quote because the property is built in the 80s, has never had a flood claim, is in a very low risk area, it's just near a marsh, and came back with a quote of $522.50. Same amount of coverage, same house, everything is the same, except for, in this case, this is someone that works in our local market, deals with flood all the time, and knows what companies to call, and also knows what to tell people regarding FEMA, which his email said. This is a private market quote. Here's the number. FEMA's quote would be significantly higher because we don't have an elevation certificate. If you get one and we produce it, then we can also give you a FEMA quote that will be in line with where it should be, which is the answer that should have been given by the AAA agent, but they don't. They just go ahead and say, hey, $5,000, that's it, which caused my clients to want to kill the deal, which I totally understand. We're in the last day of review. They wanted to kill the deal, so I had to spend all morning talking them off the ledge, making calls, getting this secondary quote, which is basically at 10% of what the AAA quote was, so they understood exactly what was going on. So we've now spoken to the new insurance agent. They're calm. They understand what's going on. They realize that they can go ahead and get the flood insurance for right around what the current owner is getting it at, which was around $700 or $800 a year, and we're moving forward. But the moral of the story is that if I didn't know better to say, hey, wait, that's not right, that makes no sense, or if our insurance agents that we use didn't know better to say, hey, this is why that came in that way, this is what it should be, here's a quote we can give you from a private company, that may have cost us the deal. And in this competitive market, who knows when they would have found another house. We've been looking at houses for weeks now. We've looked at houses almost every day as they come to market. There's multiple offers. They've missed out on a couple that they've made offers on. This one they finally get. They're super excited, and they could have lost it all because someone that is not fully informed about flood insurance or the area of where we are, gave them bad information, or not all the information, I should say, that scared them and almost made them tank the deal. So again, all was well in the end. We went from, again, $5,000 quote with AAA to a $522.50 quote with Tim Barry over at Anchor Insurance in Rio Grande. All is well, the deal's moving forward. But again, it just goes back to my point. Who you work with matters. Make sure, especially in this crazy market, you're working with someone who knows the market and they have a strong team around them, because again, your agent is only as strong as the team around them, as their lenders, as their insurance agent, as their title company, as their contractors, their electricians, their plumbers, and everything else. We are here to make sure the transactions are as smooth as possible and get done in the fastest amount of time for the least amount of money out of your pocket extra for what they should be done, and get you into your new place happy or out of your current home and on somewhere else. Hope this information was helpful, guys. Again, it's Brian Steer, Blue Homes Real Estate Group. I know this is a little long, but it's important to me to make sure that no one misses out on a property that they should own because someone uninformed is giving them bad information. Once again, Brian Steer, Blue Homes Real Estate. Give me a buzz, 609-425-9428, or go ahead and drop me a message. Thanks, guys, and we will see you on the next one. Really?